Well, we are in the third week out of four talking about biblical friendship, and we're thinking about it in terms of the Proverbs. And, friendship, we talked about it. It is one of those things that's foundational to the life of the church. From Acts chapter 2 forward, fellowship was one of those things, having things in common with one another, so incredibly valuable. And the book of Proverbs essentially teaches that you cannot live a life of wisdom unless you are living a life where you're attempting to choose wisely and forge and keep terrific godly friendships. And so, week one, we saw that friendship is really the only love that's just purely deliberate. It's the only type of relationship in your life that doesn't serve another purpose, like your spouse or like your relationship with the community, your relationship with your family. Those have other aspects to them. Friendship is just friendship. It just exists for that one purpose. And then friendship, we saw in our last session, the second session, we saw that friendship can only be really discovered where you are looking at somebody else and you say, wait a minute, you have the same goals, you have the same beliefs that I have, and you sort of discover that about somebody else. And Proverbs 27 was that text we looked at where, you discover the sweetness of a friendship through those values and core beliefs that you share with one another. And that's very valuable within the church. We need that. That's why we need each other, is because we share those beliefs. And so friendship then, thirdly, and this is our focus for this session, is that friendship then, once we recognize those previous things, friendship must be forged and it must be built. And those are intentional things. And so Proverbs 25, verse 17 says, seldom set foot in your neighbor's house. Too much of you, and he will hate you. Like one who takes away a garment, verse 20, on a cold day, or like vinegar poured on soda is one who sings songs to a heavy heart. So the idea is, I think it was Ben Franklin who said that, visiting friends and fish start to stink after 3 days. And so the proverb here says, seldom set foot in your neighbor's house or he will hate you. And so there's the idea behind that. Sometimes when we're around people too much, they become a nuisance. But a true friend is someone that is there for you in the most difficult of moments. So like one who takes away a garment on a cold day is one who sings songs to a heavy heart. The proverb is saying that a true friend is not going to be off singing if you are crying, that he's going to be there with you in times of difficulty. And the Proverbs will go on to say that there are essentially four things you have to do to forge and to build a great friendship. One of those, first one we'll say, is constancy. Like there has to be a constant effort. And so the proverb will say a friend loves at all times. There's good times, bad times, ordinary times, routine moments, as well as the difficult times of life. So a friend says, I will do whatever it takes to keep you from falling into ruin. And I'll be there even if it costs me something. The second thing the Proverbs will teach us is that there has to be a carefulness in how we interact with our friendships. As one of the Proverbs says, why does a man deceive his neighbor and say, I was only joking? There's a type of humor that's at somebody else's expense, and when you notice that it's hurtful to them, many people will say, well, I was only joking about it, as if to shrug it off. But friends are not to be emotionally disconnected. They're to be mindful of and careful of how they interact with each other. There's also a candor about true biblical friendship. That is an openness. And so one of the Proverbs will say, better is open rebuke than hidden love. Wounds from a friend can be trusted, but an enemy multiplies kisses. There are friends who can give an accurate view of your strengths and your weaknesses, and they can do it in a caring way. Otherwise, you're just setting somebody up for a disastrous life and not helping them to see their own blind spots. And then there's a fourth aspect to this of building and forging relationships, takes wise counsel with one another. Proverbs 27:9, the pleasantness of one's friend springs from his earnest counsel. And so it's something that comes from the heart. And so we are to be forging and building relationships where we're able to share heartfelt secrets with someone else. And that is one of the great deep truths of biblical friendship. So as we continue this study, and we'll have one more next week, I want you to think about somebody. Maybe it's nobody you've contacted yet. Maybe it's somebody that you're building a relationship with. But I want you to think about somebody that you can reach out to, text them, call them, and think about building up spiritually encouraging friendships. In Jesus' name, His love is burning in our hearts like living flame. For through the loving Son, the Father makes us one. Come take the